Stephen Craig Paddock lived in a community home in Mesquite, just 80 miles from Las Vegas, and did not have a background of terror. Last night the gunman opened fire from his hotel room on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay, where he had been since Thursday, September 28. When police broke into the room, they discovered that Paddock had killed himself, and his body was surrounded by at least 10 firearms. His brother Craig Paddock told Mail Online that the family was dumbfounded by what happened. He was just a guy, he said. Something happened, he snapped or something. Eric, who lives in Orlando, described his sibling as a gambler with no religious affiliation, no political affiliation, or history of mental illness. He added the fact that he had those kinds of weapons is just, where the hell did he get automatic weapons? He has no military background or anything like that. Has a guy who lived in a house in Mesquite and drove down and gambled in Las Vegas. Paddock was not known to police before the attack that left more than 500 injured. Clark County Sheriff Joseph Lombardo said, "We have no investigative information or background associated with this individual that is derogatory. The only thing we can tell is that he received a citation several years ago, and that was handled as a matter of normal practice in the courts. As far as his history and his background, we haven't completed that part of the investigation yet." Las Vegas shooting. Stephen Paddock has been named as the gunman. When asked why the attack is not being treated as terrorism, Mr. Lombardo said, "We have to establish what his motivation is first. There's motivating factors associated with terrorism other than a distraught person just intending to cause mass casualty. Before we label with that, it will be a matter of process." ISIS has claimed responsibility for the shooting, saying Paddock was a soldier of Islamic State who had converted to Islam months ago. The terror group's claim has not been verified and contradicts earlier statements made by police. The FBI has not found any connection to the international terror group. Read more. Who was the Las Vegas shooter? October 2, 2017. People run from the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival after gunfire was heard at 64 years old. Paddock is the oldest mass shooter in U.S. history. A spokesman for the city's police department said, "We don't have a lot on Mr. Paddock. He does live here in our city. We have not had any law enforcement contact with him in the past." Records show that Paddock lived in a 3-year-old, $396,000 297,554 pounds 12-bedroom home in Babbling Brook Court with Mary Lou Danley. Ms. Danley was initially named as a person of interest, but it has now been confirmed that she was out of the country at the time of the attack. It is thought that Paddock used Ms. Danley's ID when preparing for the shooting. GETTYREUTERS. Las Vegas shooting. 50 people were killed in the attic. Facebook. Las Vegas shooting. Mary Lou Danley lived with Paddock in Nevada earlier. Mr. Lombardo called Paddock a lone wolf, adding, "We have no idea what his belief system was." He added, "Right now, we believe he was the sole aggressor and the scene is static." The dead man lived locally, and his motives are not known. There were no explosives involved in the attack, but police used a controlled explosion to get to the suspect. The attack took place during the last night of the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival. Thousands of people fled the scene, including Instagram star Dan Bilzerian. Express. Las Vegas shooting. Map of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Las Vegas shooting. Police officer patrolling after the attack. Country singer Jason Aldean was on stage when the gunfire broke. He later confirmed that he and his crew were safe, adding, "Tonight has been beyond horrific." U.S. President Donald Trump has been briefed on the shooting and has tweeted a message of support to those affected. He wrote, "My warmest condolences and sympathies to the victims and families of the terrible Las Vegas shooting. God bless you." Theresa May took a break from the Conservative Party conference in Manchester to condemn the attack. She said the UK's thoughts are with the victims and the emergency services responding to the appalling attack in Las Vegas.